You are listening to The Four Corners, the official podcast of No Counters, No Combos. What is up, Square Nation? Welcome back to the Four Corners podcast. And tonight we have a very big kind of milestone episode here with our 20th installment. So these guys were kind enough to join me, and yes, plural guests tonight. So we're joined by Egman, Aandroidd, and Joey from CrossWorld TCG. Say what's up, guys. How's everything going?
Hello. I was worried we were all going to talk at the same time. So.
Yes, exactly. Hi.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. What's up, guys?
Hello. So I'm gonna try to keep this as smooth as possible. There's four of us here in this podcast today, but I'm confident in my abilities, so we're gonna get right to it. The first question I want to ask specifically to the Egman himself about the World Martial Arts Tournament Power Boosters that were revealed. So with the experience that we've had with the Set 5 ones and the Set 4 Power Boosters, the World Martial Arts Tournament, there's a much larger quantity of Power Boosters that we're going to get. And I know you recently made a video about it being good for the game but bad for the players. Could you just extend a little bit on that thought that you had?
Yeah, I think that the title probably was a bit clickbaity, but just the idea, like, a lot of people are like, well, how is it bad for the players if the game's better? But I think it's just like a shift of just making things more expensive. And I don't think everyone subscribes to that kind of idea. Like, it does make the game better, but at what cost, kind of thing. I think the thing is that all the cards in it are really cool. It's really weird because like half the cards aren't really tied to World Martial Arts Tournament. They just have the tag for some reason. So I thought that was kind of weird for them to make it just this big power booster set, because it's bigger than tournament packs, right? Tournament packs, you only have 8, and you have like 3 times as much time to sign up for these events and play in them, and it just felt like a bad deal for the players. But if other than that, I think that the pack is great, and I wish it was kind of like a tin set. If they were to kind of release Dragon Ball Super tins, I think this would have been the pack to put in them.
So do you think? Just to piggyback on what you said about the tins and the release structure, do you think it would have been smarter for Bandai to make it more like the Ultimate Box?
Yeah, and like also like they also have like this big 35 card anniversary set coming out like a couple days later. So or does it come out first? I forget which one comes out first, but it's like the same time. So I don't. It's going to be interesting to see what those cards are. But if they're like a bunch of like bad cards that they just use for filler, I'll be upset.
Brian, Joe, you want to extend on that?
Yeah, my only thing with that is like if it was another not anniversary box, if it was another Ultimate box, it would kind of just be like another like $80 to $100 box, which I don't think would necessarily be too great, because like the Ultimate box was about $100 and only like 3 cards out of it were playable. So I don't know if that would have been a good alternative. But I think their thing with the Power Booster here was that I think World Tournament was only like an 80 card set, like something obnoxiously small like that.
Yeah,
I don't have the number in front of me, but I think it was just their way of like filling it out. And I think it's okay for like the secondary market to gain a little more value, because one of the biggest complaints for a long time, and of course there's people on both sides of it, stuff doesn't cost enough, stuff costs too much, this and that. But I think it's okay to have like a secondary market that has a little bit of, I guess you can say, inflation, because I think that's overall it's good for the game. You know, it makes people want to enter tournaments, because I miss the days of Set 3. Not to say I miss Mecha Freezer format, but I miss the days where like you could enter a tournament, get a tournament pack, and you could pull a $30 Fu, you could pull a $20 Bardock Ape, or you could pull a $30 Endless Evolution Broly. So I kind of miss those days, and I think it would be okay for these things to be a little bit, you know, on the higher end slightly.
Yeah, I think people would just be you will be lucky if it was an Ultimate box, if you paid $100 to get a playset of all these cards. I think it's going to be a lot tougher, and based on experience with just the yellow cards, you need like 4 of the 5 yellow cards to be competitive in the Jackie Chun.
For sure.
So that's going to be really expensive if the prices are even somewhat similar to how like the chase cards from the other ones have been.
That's a fair point, but we will be getting more Power Boosters per tournament, so that's pretty dope.
Aandroidd?
But not in ratio, because there's 4 times the cards and you get twice as many packs.
Yeah, I guess
you're still only half deficit.
Yeah, I can't math. That's a fair point.
What about you, Aandroidd? What do you think about it?
I think I would like to see it in tins. I think, you know, Bandai was really trying to answer two things. So one, how do you make a good, or how do you make a bad set good, right? Mm-hmm. And how do we also give value to that? And so you have to kind of tie in the bad archetypes, make them good, or they're the existing good archetypes and make them great, right? So you have to do that, and then you also have to make it fair for the LGSs, which I don't think it is. From what I hear, you guys can correct me or anybody else can. You have to buy new product in order to get the
That is correct. That is correct.
Yeah, you do.
Which is terrible because
That part is absolutely awful. Yeah.
Yeah. So if they took away that part and maybe reduce the number from what is this, 20 cards? Yeah, 20 cards to about 10. This would be really good. But because there's so many cards and because it's going to be so scarce, even with 2 packs with 3 cards in it, I don't think it's handled correctly. I think all the power boosters are really good. I think green's a little neglected, but blue and yellow are going to be really good, and there's a couple of good options in red. Yeah, I think it could have been handled differently. I see their intentions, but I don't know if it was the right one.
So
yeah,
how I see it, real quick, is the whole thing about having to order extra product, I think, is a little bit ridiculous, because you're talking about, World Martial Arts Tournament doesn't have a really good shelf life. It was a really small set, and people were able to kind of finish it, kind of like Clash of Fates. You got a couple boxes, and you were able to get a majority of the cards that you needed from those sets to kind of complete everything. So to force the
and that's the other thing. Yeah, you don't need more packs.
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't need more packs. You don't.
Yeah,
you don't. But I mean, I kind of. If you're looking at it two ways, I mean, obviously we're going to look at it as players and obviously as content creators. But if you look at the business aspect of it, it's they have to, be able to make a profit. So for them, it's just how much money can we make off of this right now? And there are going to be some people, especially World Martial Arts enthusiasts, who enjoyed that set but did feel like it was a little lackluster and it was just missing a couple pieces. To be like, okay, you know what? I will go after these promos. No matter how I have to get them, I will go after them. Because people did that for the set 4 power boosters for Path to Greatness and for the Baby Chain. So I guess, from previous history, I mean, I don't think the set 5 power boosters were as successful as the set 4 ones, but now
one
that
card
they...
was.
Well, yeah, one card was.
Eggman's like, you're welcome, everybody.
Yeah, pretty much, but... I don't know. I think it's interesting to see the shift. If it was me personally, I would have made it. I'm okay with the whole sealed format. I really do enjoy playing sealed, and I think the themed boosters lend themselves specifically to play that type of format. But if it was me, I would have made it. You get one of each power booster in your pack, just to make it a little better for the player base. To give them the opportunity is if they wanted to get a playset of everything, then they would have to participate in 4 events, and then they get everything. Which is still $120 if you think about it. But I don't know, that's just my opinion.
Yeah,
I don't know this for a fact, but I think it's like Bandai probably did it so that distributors could get these extra boxes off their stuff. Because like Bandai's had this weird trend where they've like either overproduced product or severely underproduced product, right? So this is probably another set that has been like overly produced, and they're probably just trying to help distributors get it off their shelves. But it does kind of suck for the LGS. The LGS takes a lot of hits all over the place, and it really sucks.
Mm-hmm.
That's a no bueno. Oh, by the way, speaking of secondary market, I don't know if you guys checked it out. The World Tournament Secret Rare is actually approaching $80 right now.
$80?
Listing.
Crap.
Yeah, so the market price... Goku Noob. So the market price is $23, and then the cheapest listing is $43, and then the next one's $75. So as soon as someone picks that up, it's gonna...
I have 3 extras of those in my binder. I might actually move them now.
That's broken.
I mean, when you get a case of all those theme boosters, you get 4 of everything.
6 energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then now with the whole ban list, which we'll get into, the fact that card can be played in Veku ramp, it might see a spike, in playability as well.
A little bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So specifically for you guys, and this might be a loaded question because you are content creators, but is it something that is appealing to you as far as these power booster events go? And I guess we could start with Brian. on your local level? Is it something that you're looking forward to participate in these power booster events?
Am I looking forward to it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I just used my government name.
I'm sorry. My bad. I'll scratch that.
Exposed.
It's fine. Everybody should know, right? I enjoy any kind of sealed. It's really funny. Like set 4, set 5, any of those. That everybody kind of opens up their packs and then makes their deck and just like become completely depressed. Like I hate my deck. Everything doesn't work. I have like 4 colors, 5 colors. I love that part, and just like I guess the variance of what you could be playing and what you could be playing against. I love that fact. But I think the other fact of it, that LGSs have to buy new product and that you have to buy new product to even play in it, is kind of Yeah. I think that's sort of redundant, especially for like older or veteran players, like people who already have sets, just like you guys are saying. So for newer players, yeah, it's okay. But even at that point, where they really actually need those, do they actually really need? I don't know. I think I'm very about it as far as sealed goes.
Quick question: anyone here have a Magic background? Real quick.
I don't.
The card game or the
card
sorcery?
game? The card game.
Wow. Yeah, I dabble a little bit of black magic things.
Yeah. What's that behind your ear? Ooh,
my question is just going to be like, I don't want to buy any new packs for World Tournament realistically, unless I pull like an SPR. You know what I mean? But like, I imagine that in Magic, like people have to buy old product all the time because draft is such a big format in that game. And I'm okay with draft becoming a thing in Dragon Ball. And I guess like you probably just have to bite the bullet and buy old product if you want to play draft. But my thing is, wow, I just totally forgot what I was about to say. Egman, take it off because I completely forgot what I was going to say.
Awesome. Great. It's not like I was contemplating what it... No. So, couple of Kansas facts. So, there's not... My local store usually only does like one sealed event, and they can sometimes get that filled. For the Set 5 Power Booster, it was literally me and another guy who showed up, and then we just split the Power Boosters from there. So, hopefully that happens with the World Martial Arts Tournament.
Oh, yeah. That was a pretty good come up, huh?
I can get like 2 copies of a card from there.
I forgot to say. Sorry to cut you off, Egg, but
yeah, go for it.
My LGS has actually decided not to do it at all. So they said, well, yeah, it's fun for me. They said no, we're not doing World Tournament. We're not buying new product. We have like 4 or 5 boxes, or like 10 boxes or something like that.
Oh, that's so rough.
And even the ones that the one I go to every week, we have like 20 plus players. It's still not being moved. And the other store, which is their sister store, completely stopped buying GBS products. So it's just a little rough, it's kind of rough on that kind of standpoint for some stores.
I definitely, for this specific situation, I think only Bandai wins, if anyone. But what was I going to say? So, but the sealed events that I've really liked are like the Set 6 pre-release and just pre-releases in general. And just because you get to play with the new cards, and no one, like, it's just everyone's just playing with the cards they pull and they like. And you get to keep them at the end, too, which is really nice. And then also, hopefully they do events with the new draft box they're coming out with next August, September?
No, it's October, I think.
October?
Yeah.
Whenever that is.
In the fall.
That should be a lot of fun, I think. And especially since they're all new cards as well. Did they say they're doing reprints, or is it supposed to be? It's a half and half.
So
right?
that's what scares me a little bit, because the new draft box that was announced for this coming fall is a new set in its entirety that's literally built to be played as a draft. So all of the cards in that set are brand new. Mm-hmm. So
which is better than lumping together Set 4 and World Martial Arts Tournament.
To that extent, I do agree. But I feel like if they were going to do that, and obviously it's going to be a typical design, you're going to get your draft box, you're going to get your 24 packs or 12 packs, whatever it is, and you're going to get your 4 leaders. But there's obviously going to be 1 leader of each color. They'll probably not include black again, like they always do. So there'll be one of the main primary colors each leader, but the draft box is supposed to come with 4 of the same leader again. So, like, if in my opinion, if they were, I get why they do that because okay, you and your buddies split a draft box, you crack it open, and there's enough for 4 players to play with draft, and there's no leader.
To fight about which one
Right,
gets Mecha 3.
correct. But for for us, and by us I mean a competitive standpoint, if you want to get all 4 leaders now, you're gonna have to go out and get multiple product. And the problem that I have with it being a completely new set is, what are the ratios going to be for those cards in that set? I mean, there's not a lot of information on it yet. I'm sure they'll release that. But is it going to be something where, like, are you guaranteed a playset of each card that's released in this set per draft box? Because if you are, then that's great. But I don't think they'll do that, in my opinion. I just don't think they'll
probably
happen.
not. And the one thing that scares me, too, is, like, Bandai, the way they worded it is kind of weird. Like, these are going to be cards specifically designed for draft, right? But and since Clash of Fates, in my opinion, the design of this game has been excellent. Just a few older cards have just interacted with a few newer cards and kind of messed things up. But like, if they're just designing in one box kind of frame, I hope they're keeping in account the rest of the game, because obviously I'm assuming these cards are going to be allowed in like standard format. So hopefully they're keeping that in mind. I always get a little bit afraid when I feel like Bandai might drop the ball.
Well, I don't know if you guys play League of Legends, but that's kind of like the League of Legends sort of mindset. They release out a broken character, let it roam free, and everybody buys it and buys the skins and all that other stuff. And then a month later, they always patch it.
Dude, what do you mean? Yumi sucks.
I haven't played League in like 6 months, so...
No, I'm with you. The newest character they literally released yesterday kind of sucks, but I'm with you on that. I know what you mean.
Looks like they learned from their mistakes then.
Yeah. My other thing. Sorry. My other train of thought just came back, and I want to just get it out before I forget it again. The thing with like the sealed events, right, is like the one singular thing I miss from Yu-Gi-Oh, and I know most of you guys played Yu-Gi-Oh for a little while, so you guys might be able to relate. The sneak peeks for Yu-Gi-Oh are really, really cool in the sense that, Yu-Gi-Oh usually prints like chase cards in like secret rare and higher rarity formats. So, like, I kind of enjoy that like scramble to like get the cards you're looking for, and it's kind of like, I don't know, it's a weird little thrill. It's probably just for me because I'm weird, but like the pre-release the same effect because not a lot of the high rarity cards are chase cards, right? Usually it's all the commons and uncommons and rares that are really, really good. But the power booster kind of gives you that same chase feel, which I don't know, I find it kind of fun.
Yeah, like Dragon Ball does it if they make enough product for everyone who shows up.
Right.
Sure.
Like, I don't know if you guys had done with the set 6 withdrawal, but we had like exactly enough for 16 people to get 6 packs. So
yeah, we had some problems with it too.
But I think the Yu-Gi-Oh was I do remember the Yu-Gi-Oh ones, and those are a lot of fun, especially since you got a promo just for being part of it. I think that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we get those, right? TP packs, that's their form.
It was for Yu-Gi-Oh! It's just one promo, and you just get it for simply showing up to that event.
Yeah, for specific sneak.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, what was I gonna say? I completely forgot what I was gonna say. I don't know. Never mind.
I'm passing around the stupid. That's
I got you though. I got you. I'm gonna come in with the save right here. So you mentioned earlier about Bandai having the 2 extremes when it comes to LGSs and ordering new product. You have one extreme or one side of the coin where it's mass produced and there's too much and they're trying to move it, and then you have the other side of the coin where there's just not enough of it. So if you look at set 6, which is a perfect example, set 6 and I guess World Martial Arts Tournament. World Martial Arts Tournament was massively produced because it was coming off of the heels of the hype from, I believe it was Colossal Warfare.
Yeah.
Because Colossal Warfare was one of those sets where it was ordered just enough. Like there wasn't too much and there wasn't too little. So then WMAT came out right after that. So all that hype, they just probably massively produced it, and they didn't realize that, okay, this set's a lot smaller. It's going to be easier for all these players to get all these cards. There's no reason for us to print all of this extra stuff. And they didn't learn their lesson with set 5, and then they learned their lesson with set 6, but they didn't print enough of it. So I just want to see more consistency with how they scale their product. I do appreciate the fact that they've kind of reduced the release schedule and they're giving us, product on a quarterly basis, which I think is the best way to do it, because you're going to get 4 formats a year and then some supplemental stuff in between, which I'm fine with. But I don't want the set 6 issue to happen again, where you literally have people who were not able to get their product because stores were shorted such amounts of pre-orders due to the pre-release. So, for me, it's never a nightmare for me because I always pre-order my stuff ahead of time and I always get a case of everything. But not everybody has the same or is in the same situation as myself where they have, the opportunity to do that. So I just want it to be to the point where everybody can get their stuff and not have to like scratch and claw for it, because that's what jacks up the market prices on everything too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think, I spoke about this a little while back. I don't even remember at this point, but the secondary value for this game is super, like, highly, what's the word? Connected. Well, that too, but fragile, because now we got people with $40 Bardock promos, and now they're all gone. But it's very connected to the meta. So like whenever a really good card, a really good deck comes out, it's really connected to that. But I think coming off your point, I think Set 6 has been kind of iffy, right, with the stock. But it also is annoying when, like my LGS, for instance, they just got a restock maybe a few weeks ago, but they only restocked the special packs and maybe a couple boxes. But not only the boxes are $100 right now, but also the special sets are $25 instead of the $16 or $16.
Yeah, I saw my local do that too, but they also for every reason put them at $17 on their eBay listing, so I just scooped them up there.
Yeah, that's okay. There you go. I think that's legit then. Yeah. And now if you guys take a look at the Facebook groups and other things like that, I think people are getting the multicolored ones early, and now they're selling it for more than MSRP, and I think that's kind of an issue, but also understandable from Bandai, because if you talk through distributors and LGSs and other people within the industry, they'll tell you that some distributors aren't happy as far as selling product and moving it and having too much product. So, this short print, quote unquote, is for a reason. And I think it's kind of needed because Bandai, tough spot. And until they get out of that spot, we're going to be experiencing that for a while.
Yeah. It's such a fine point that someone is going to lose out. It's either going to be Bandai, at least one person, Bandai, the store, or us, the players. And so, I think for the first couple of sets, Bandai really put the loss on themselves, but I don't think they're willing to do that as well, which is fine because they're a business.
See, I don't think that though. I don't think that though, because set 1. I mean, I'm talking set 1 and set 2 now. It feels like these are ancient, but I don't feel like set 1 and set 2. Obviously, the game was brand new, so there wasn't as much of a demand for it, but I don't feel like they ever ran into the problem of there ever being too much of set 1 and set 2. So I don't know if it's something where I don't know. Sometimes I look at this game objectively, like I'm obsessed with this game. So I always give it the benefit of the doubt, like, oh, it's fine, everything's fine. But sometimes I do take a step back and I look at it objectively a little bit, and I'm like, maybe Bandai made this game and they were just like, we hope it sticks, and they didn't realize what they had on their hands. Like, they didn't realize how good of a game it actually was, and then last minute they were trying to scramble to just kind of throw stuff together and make something out of nothing, and we got this whole cluster of just inconsistencies without the game. And I give them credit. They put their thinking caps on and they started correcting a lot of issues. I think it started with Clash of Fates, in my opinion. They started getting on top of their design strategies and everything. And I know Joey feels the same way about it, with Clash being very balanced and moving forward with the meta and stuff like that. But I don't know. I think maybe there were times where they might have been a little in over their heads, and they were just trying to.
I totally agree. I feel like we've been seeing Bandai grow as much as like we've been seeing the game grow. Like, just their design philosophies, the way they've been like addressing and handling the community. I feel like we've really been watching them develop and they're a bunch of young guys, right? Like, I don't know if you have ever met them, but I met them at Nats. I met them at an event in Fresno, California. Like, they're young people just designing this game, working for Bandai. So, and they're really cool. They're really cool people. But yeah, I mean, their youth probably just shows. But they're doing a great job. Like, as long as they're they're in the game, as long as they want the game to succeed, I'm behind them because they've done right by me. Like they came to our event in Fresno and they distributed like extra packs to everyone and like talked to us all personally. And this is at the time of Mecha Frieza, and they like we're seriously looking at the issue and like watching gameplay. It was really, really cool.
Yeah, because I don't think they expected the game to last more than a year. And then they're like, oh, shoot, people are still playing it. We better make sure it has actual longevity.
It reminds me a lot of Eric Goodwin's post. A lot of what you guys are saying.
Oh, his Facebook post?
Just saying,
Just less trolly.
Well, I mean, yeah, you got to give him credit. A lot of it, reading through the lines, is a lot of truth. And
yeah, no, for sure.
I think, I agree. I think it's supposed to be a casual game, something to supplement the TV show. And as sets kind of grew, problems grew, and now we're trying to fix those and trying to keep it fun, basically.
Yeah.
Hopefully, hopefully we, as players, because I believe this wholeheartedly. The game lives and dies with its player base. So hopefully, we can navigate through the turmoil and all the bumps in the road to eventually get to a place where we're comfortable. I mean, we've had good formats. Set 2 was a good format. Early Set 5 was a good, they were good formats, like post, the Go 10 ban and all that stuff. They were good formats. Hercule format was decent. There's.
I'm gonna not to cut you off, but I feel like a lot of people have nostalgia glasses for Set 2, and I wasn't around for Set 2. I started the expansion set, but I would say it's exponentially easier to have a balanced card game when there's only 2 sets, and for when it gets more than that. Like when I played the first 2 sets of Hearthstone, that was a really solid game, and then Set 3 came out and stuff went wrong, and it's not. It's just a really complex issue, and I get why people want to go back to that, but I don't know. Like you have to also want the game to move forward, and it's just card games are really weird because it's in like a lot of these like kind of internet games that are coming out. You just can't go back in time. You got to live in the moment.
For sure, but like then the other thing is like Yu-Gi-Oh. It was either Set 1 or Set 2 that like Yada locked out, right? And like, you literally just got FTK'd like in Set 1 too. So like the nostalgia glasses are real, but I think like Set 2 really just like captured what the game is. Like the game is not like a flashy combo game. Like things like what is it like a Mecha Frieza Apes or things like AOD. And that's not necessarily what the game should be about. Like those decks can exist as long as they're relatively balanced and not like auto win. But then when you have things like Gogeta 7 combos or like Height of Mastery Victory Strike combos, like that's when there's like inevitability in the game where you will just lose if your opponent makes it to X turn. That is, I think that's more what people don't want to see. That's at least what I don't want to see.
Me neither.
Yeah, and you don't want to keep it up to the variance because even with Gogeta, I know that's going to be a pretty big topic, if not already, for Gogeta 7. There's a huge amount of variance for it. Like there's a ticking time bomb, just like you were saying, into the time that you do it, making sure that they get down to one life to make sure they don't do that, right? Or get off of the Gogeta 7. But then right after that, like after they use this Gogeta 7, everything's variance. And
exactly, and it's variance, but it's actually like the variance heavily favors the player who plays the Gogeta 7, right? So it's like it's variance, but it's almost also like not variance,
Yeah, that's why Zeno is a little bit better in that, and that's why it's always been sort of like a needed regulator. I've never had an issue with Zeno, ever.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, I used to have an issue.
Unless I play it,
it kind of grew on me.
Yeah, that's good. But yeah.
So we went a half hour, almost 30 minutes without mentioning Gogeta 7. But now,
that you
guys,
I was cringing.
Now that you guys opened that can of worms, we're gonna have to go there. So first, we have to address what happened today with the errata/ban list. For those of you who don't know, or if you're living under a rock, Bardock the progenitor, and it's pronounced progenitor.
PBS priorities.
It's pronounced progenitor, so progenitor. Bardock the progenitor and A Child's Wish have been banned. And Super Shenron got the errata that it can only activate its ultimate ability when there's 30 battle cards in the drop area to take its second turn. So essentially that leader is dead.
The errata more or less said, "Do not place this leader in your leader area."
Yes, pretty much. If you play this leader, you lose. Essentially, is what it says.
So you put down the leader and then you scoop.
But of course, we clamored and complained for months. Bandai made the adjustment. but there's still complaints about other things because that's just how we are as card players, right? So now the new thing is Joey's favorite card ever printed, Gogeta 7. What do you guys really think about that card's impact, or the impact that it could potentially have again in the meta? And Joey, since it's your favorite card, I have to start with you.
Okay, one thing real quick about the complaining in the community that I really, really want to touch on. You're never going to please everyone with anything. Like, no, there's never going to be a perfect format. Like, there were people that complained about set 2, you know, as much as people like look back on it with like happy thoughts. The thing is, like, I feel like the volume of complaining increases exponentially when we have a format like Shenron, Super Shenron, or like Mecha Frieza. Like, that's when you see the Facebook group flooded with posts, right? But like, I don't know, for as an example, like even when like Janemba was winning a lot of events, like sure people complained about it, but it was never to this level. Or I'm trying to think of another format, like when Hurugard Storm, but then like Hercule came out, like people started complaining about Storm less. You know what I mean? It's like I feel like there's a degree of complaining that kind of warrants there being an issue in the game. And I think Super Shenron reached that level. But real quick, now that we're back on a Gogeta 7, I don't know. Do you guys want to rebuttal what I just said, or before I go on to Gogeta 7?
Well, I mean, just a little bit. As far as, yes, I will agree. As far as just having answers, I think there is no answer for a second turn.
Right,
you can't beat a second turn. Like there's no like, oh, okay, I'm punching the face.
Two Yada. You skip your opponent's next turn. It's canceled.
Yeah, just classic Joey. Just punch him in the face, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
How is that classic Joey?
That's a Patreon reference, okay? Jesus.
Weird. Oh yeah, you're right.
I thought you meant Joey Wheeler. I don't know.
No. Wait, Joey Wheeler punched someone in the face? No, I mean that's
all the time.
Oh yeah, that's true. Actually,
I used to be Joey Wheeler unless you watch the NA dub. What are you doing?
I'm so lost right now.
Yeah, that's what it is. So I mean, I agree. I think we didn't really have a direct answer for Super Shenron. We couldn't play it good or well enough, like one deck, and then beat all the other decks. Right? That was the whole point of it. But yeah, I completely agree. You can continue that.
I just my quick 2 cents. I think something that kind of gets lost, and this is a really big opinion, is that when people are balancing this game, since it's just this kind of hybrid of a casual and competitive game, fun is something that's really taken, I think, in account of more than other card games, and I think it's a really important. I would agree that I think a lot of people. I like Super Shenron. I think it deserved to, what happened to it, but I don't. And I think most of the reason was more of it was just not fun to play with, and it was just a lot of people weren't having a good time because of it. So that's just 2 cents of mine.
Oh yeah, I think that's a huge part of it. But the other thing too is like, yeah, you can argue like the better players of Super Shenron are better than if you give Super Shenron to a monkey. But that's like with any deck, because a lot of people's arguments are like, oh, Super Shenron only rewards good play, and like any deck rewards good play. It's like when you take Super Shenron, like and you have a player that you have a win con for every single matchup. But I guess we'll get off that topic because that deck is pretty much dead now. So we'll go into Gogeta 7. So I hate the card. Card's super broken, but I don't think. Okay, so a really quick story. The original thing about me and Gogeta 7 was that I thought the card was absolutely broken tier 0 when Hurugard Storm got the axe, right? So I thought that card was going to come in and just absolutely dominate everything. Shenron was going to get to turn 4. They were going to rip your hand apart. They were going to OTK you with triple strike, triple attack crit, right? That was basically what I thought was going to happen. And I thought Storm was dead like a lot of other people did. And then I didn't see Broly Storm coming. And then I played Broly Storm for the entire format. So, yeah, I basically, that was when I made the pact with myself that I was not going to make any like ridiculous claims until we got tournament results. And I think I've been like kind of sticking to that philosophy. I didn't do it with Super Shenron, and I put out, videos and articles about how to beat the deck. Like, and then once time went on and it won several events, I was like, okay, this is toxic. This is not good for the game. So
yeah, it put the same switch for me too. I was like, man, this is on my watch list for a bit. And then after, what is it? What was the one where it's like 5 in the top 8?
Yeah, that was ARG Springfield. Yep.
Yeah, after Springfield, and looking at the attendance as well, I'm like, okay, this is evidence to at least me that something is.
Yeah, absolutely. But then also like personal experience. Like once I played Broly Storm against Gogeta Shenron, I realized, okay, this is very, very. Mm-hmm. The other thing was that like I tested like on school nights, I was up till 4 a.m. testing in Super Shenron leading up to ARD Springfield. I was like, I had to figure out how to beat this deck. I had to figure out how to do it with skillless in my specific case, and it was not possible. So that was my thing, like personal experience coupled with its results, and then there are also just like cardinal rules you shouldn't break in a game. Like one of them ideally being you should never be able to skip your opponent's turn. Like there's probably a few others, but just all those things coupled together with actual factual data, I think finally is how I'm trying to go forward. And I think the same issues that Shenron Gogeta faced in that format before Super Shenron came out, I think the same problems will plague it going forward. So I don't think it's going to be like tier 0.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't think that.
Eggman.
Yeah, I don't think that.
Why would you say when I say
I'm in agreement.
I don't think that
we're in different time zones, and yet, boom, bam, we got it.
We're connected, man.
I don't think that Gogeta 7 Shenron itself is going to be a problem because there's a lot that has to go into it. It's a setup. You have to set up. You have to get your pieces. Janemba milling those pieces, you just auto lose and blah 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 blah. But I do think, however, the card itself outside of the Shenron deck is still really strong. The only comparison that you can make with Gogeta 7 to a similar card would be the Cell Chain, and they obviously hit Cell Chain for a reason. So obviously they didn't hit the 7-drop because that's not the card that got hit. They hit the 3-drop, which goes into the 7-drop. But they kind of messed with the Cell Chain, to avoid or to encourage people to say, hey, it's okay for you to play decks that build hand advantage. Like, if Cell was around, I don't know how many people would play skillless just because you can generate 14, 16 card hands and still be at 6 life with a board full of, battle cards, So I was just like, okay. But Gogeta 7 essentially does the same thing. So I don't know. I mean, me and Joey have had this discussion many, many months ago about Gogeta 7 when it first came out. And I think the biggest problem with Gogeta 7 as opposed to Cell is when in the game it was played. Cell was played a lot earlier, so you can recover a lot quicker, as opposed to Gogeta was kind of like your finisher, and there was like no answers to it. I don't think it's going to be like super prevalent in the format because I don't think we're there yet. I think Bandai does have the intention of slowing the game down a little bit, but I don't think we're there to the point where you can comfortably play Shenron Gogeta because there's a lot of other decks in the format that will probably just mollywop those types of decks. But it is something to address. It is a very powerful card. And, I see it being more meaningful for those Veku ramp decks because they can get to 7 energy like super easy and then just hardcast it, and then you have a serious problem on board. But I don't know about Shenron Gogeta being the way right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, my issue with Gogeta 7 in general, it's just like, in my opinion, my personal philosophy, it's a card that shouldn't exist. Like, I don't think there should ever be cards in any game that just say, come down, win the game. Like, I hate cards like that. Like, what's one example? Like, I like decks like, exactly. I really like decks like Green Broly, right? Like, Green Broly has super powerful boss monsters, and when they come down, you'll be heavily advantaged. But the way that Green Broly is built, you can only redraw up to 6 cards. Your opponent has to control a battle card without barrier.
You can only redraw up to 6 cards.
Exactly. Like, it's like, even as crazy as that sounds, like, that deck, and like none of the big guys have barrier, like that deck is so well balanced, and it's a big control deck, and like when you drop your big dudes, you'll be heavily advantaged, but you will not automatically win the game. There's a lot of room for outplay, and I like decks like that. And Gogeta 7 is completely uninteractive outside of that Mutaito guy, and outside of the Frieza 5-drop from Clash of Fates. So
Mutaito.
like, yeah, that guy. And then there should be no reason this card exists. In my opinion, personal philosophy, cards should not exist that promote uninteractive auto win gameplay.
I agree.
And then it goes back to Eggman's thing about fun and how much of a priority it is in the game.
Mm-hmm. When I made that Cell Chain video against Super Shenron, it felt pretty bad being at 6 life and getting victory stroked.
Victory stroked.
Yeah, it's L strike for Joel, but that's another story. And I think the other part of it is that I'm glad you mentioned Green Broly because I think that's gonna be a direct counter to Shenron Gogeta.
I agree.
Just simply because you can go up the chain the first 3 turns that they're trying to set up for Shenron Gogeta.
Yep, for sure.
You can cold bloodless the 4-drop, and that the 8-drop can go ahead and just kill Gogeta. So that's always a big thing.
Absolutely.
I think right now people are a little overreacting for Shaking Gogeta. I think it is going to be back in the meta, but not as much as people would say.
Yeah, it's not going to dominate.
I encourage people to try it out and play it and find out if it is good or not. It's silly because like 3 cards have changed and everything is different now. Like that's such a weird thing. But
I mean,
yeah. But
that's what Tier 0 format will do.
Yeah, exactly. But I think like what you have to do with these kind of decks is that you have to like realize the steps of what has to happen. Step 1, you have to get to 5 energy, and like a lot of times that's like not good enough right now. Like I know that we don't have Super Shenron that wins on turn 3, but I still think like turn 3 and 4 wins are probably going to be where it's at right now. And just looking at the cards that exist right now, but I do agree that there will be it does counter some decks, but I don't think it counters all decks. And it's also like Shenron Gogeta did get a nerf as well, because a lot of them did use Child's Wish to get like cards out on turn 2 or 3, right? And they can't do that anymore, right? I can't imagine what their turns like 1 through 3 are going to look like now.
I mean, their turn 1 is probably Crisis Crusher. I mean, which is probably less relevant now in the format that Bardock is gone. But that's still a turn 1 play. I think you can swap out Crisis Crusher for Cronoa, because I think, for the first 2 weeks of every format, you gotta wait, you gotta look over your shoulder for Shugesh. Everyone's gonna try playing Shugesh now, because that's gonna be the clear-cut alternative.
We talked about this.
That's gonna be the clear-cut alternative for sneaking in your path to greatness if you want to play Item Mastery. So, I think you can easily just swap out the Crisis Crusher for turn 1 Cronoa, and then you shut off Shugesh strategies. But I played Shenron Gogeta for a little while, and I never really saw Child's Wish being the problem in that deck. You had to get to your world peace target, but you're world piecing on turn 4 to bring out your Shenron Figure of Majesty, and then turn 5 you're going into your 7-drop Gogeta. So you just give him crit, and then you swing 3 times for 9 damage of crit, and he can't do anything.
Mm-hmm. I would say like Whis and Borgos also make a difference. Because
for sure.
Tap with those cards.
For sure.
They have like a really hard time getting rid of those 1-drops if you destroy their Crisis Crusher. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see the adjustments that are made. But with Bandai addressing the cards specifically on the ban list, Bardock and Child's Wish, I think those were appropriate targets. In your guys' opinion, and we'll start with Egman, is there anything else that they should have addressed, or do you think that Bardock and Child's Wish is fine?
I like both those cards getting hit because I don't use those cards.
Bias.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, right. Chile uses 0 of the cards that got banned. But I'd say, like, I still think Path of Greatness is a little bit overtuned, and if they were just banning cards that they should have banned a while ago, I think Shugesh should have made the list too, but that's okay. I'm not gonna. I think this is a really good start for trying out a new meta, and this meta is going to exist for like 3 weeks, and then we got another new meta again anyway. So it's not going to be like a huge deal. I think I wonder if like ARG just put some pressure, like, hey, we might not get like a lot of attendance next month. Can you just help us out a little bit? And
I think it definitely plays a part in it.
Yeah. And so but I think I'm happy Bardock's gone. I think. It was. I feel like they were thinking like maybe we'll rotate cards out and then Bardock will be solved when it just rotates out, and then they're like, man, we're just gonna have to keep playing around this card for a really long time. And they're gonna if you want to awaken early with yellow, they've got that new Roshi that comes out in the Tournament of Power thingy, and not Tournament of Power, War Martial Arts tournament thing. So that can kind of do some early awakening, and I think both those cards are fine to go. I know Aandroid's going to have some opinions about Child's Wish, though.
Mm-hmm.
You at least to me, you were a really staunch defender. Like, oh, Child's Wish needs to stay for other Wish decks.
Well, I think.
Now that it's different, that you change your mind. Is that what's going on?
I mean, you're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to change your mind.
No, I'm kidding.
Are we though? Is it all about me? Okay, I'm not gonna do it. Well, listen. There's a reason why I didn't put out a video today as far as about the ban list.
I don't
Today
think any of us
yesterday.
did.
Yeah, I haven't. I've taken the week off. I was gearing up for today, so I was like, I need to take this week off and just attack my game plan and be ready for the podcast. So I took the week off.
I mean, within the next 2 weeks, I was like, after I made that video about the ban list last week, I was just like, I'm pretty sure something's going to come out. I'm pretty sure some sort of format change is going to come out. But the reason why I didn't want to do it is because I think a lot of people have a lot of different opinions. I'm always open to those. So I wanted to listen to those first. And
Agreed.
I also want to take notes as far as, what could be good, what couldn't be bad, what's actually affected. For Child's Wish, I said in my original video that it should be at 1. And most top tier decks, if not other decks, can be really effective with 1 Child's Wish. And when you use that 1, that should be it. And that includes Shenron Bu. That includes Shenron Genyu. That includes AoE Dende, right? AoE Dende is effectively not really usable as it was before.
Thank God.
Use World Peace. So yeah, I think most people are going to be moving to Shenron. I think a triple attacker on turn 4 or turn 3 is a little bit better. But I think now, looking at everything, when you take away Child's Wish and more things that are generic and, as people quote unquote say, limits future design, which I agree with. I agree with your video, Joey, which I know you're going to talk about in a little bit. I think that's good because now you take away the generic stuff in the current decks and as well as the future ones, and now you push the meta a little bit slower with those decks. So now those decks are gone. Now we have these other decks that have a little bit more game plan, and now all these other Wish decks like Chilai that uses Kind Wish, and as well as all these other decks that use Fount or the Oolong Wish or whatever. That was another point I was trying to make, that now we can get the focus on trying to build these good decks with these other Wish leaders that should have been built in the first place. So I would actually, unpopular opinion here, I actually would not be too against banning World Peace as well, simply because that one also has a similar effect as Child's Wish. It's just a little bit slower. So that's just me. That's like, after looking at everything and taking notes and reading people's opinions, I think that's kind of where I am right now.
Yeah, because it really just delayed. Most combo decks went off on turn 3. Now they just go off on turn 4, right? And that's like, it's good and bad, but like having that one more energy as a combo deck can also make or break the deck too. So just having a reason to waste one more time, one more turn setting up and stuff, I think is not. Also, let have your opponent have more fair of a defense.
Mm-hmm. Right. It gives your opponent more turns to set up as well. But I totally agree. Like, World Peace is another card that should go, and it's not broken right now. Obviously, the card's seeing virtually no play right now. But the thing is, like, the future implications, right? And this is one of the things I've been talking about with Child's Wish a lot. Like, people were like, why can't they just get rid of Bulma? Why can't they just say play from hand? Why can't they just put 16k or more? And I was like, I got into a comment there with the guy on this today. I was like, yeah, you can do that, sure. Like, Bandai can tiptoe around eggshells with Super Shenron, with Child's Wish. That could be all fine and dandy. But then the one time that they mess up, and they're human, they're like, I talk about this in my video that's going up tomorrow too. Is like, they're human, like, and when they do slip up, we'll have to sit through another format like this, and I really don't want that to ever happen again. Mm-hmm. So I'd rather just kill the root problem.
Yeah.
So
I think World Peace is fine right now, but I'm ready to get turned wrong about it. I think.
Right, like, it's fine right now, but it's just what's going to happen in the future. Like, that's the thing. Some things are just way too generic, especially when you look at reanimation, like in any card. Like, Monster Reborn, banned for the longest time. Like, these are Yu-Gi-Oh! Examples, but Soul Charge just got banned because it reborns 5 monsters, right? Like, you have to look at those things, like, especially reanimation, or like summoning things from hand, summoning things from deck. If they're too generic, you're asking to be broken. Like, things, in my opinion, like Fountain of Spirit, Twin Revival, Plea for Salvation, these are all like desire cards that reanimate, but they're tied to specific archetypes, so they're tied to colors, which makes them inherently more balanced.
They also have like
the
major restrictions though too.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. I was like, they have costs.
Yeah,
like Child's Wish as well as World Peace are completely
free. Yeah, you like, get there's no downside of playing it.
Yeah,
and it can target so many things.
Get out of here, Doug.
Right. Well, even Twin Revival, there's no cost, but you have to target 2 Namekians, right? Like, so there's like a stipulation, like, where it's not, you don't have the entire card pool open to your disposal. So
yeah, I think every color is so, because green also got their what is it? The Mechian one. I forgot the name of it.
The Plea
It's
for
like-
Salvation.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's what it is. Okay, you said it already. My bad.
It's all good. It's all good, man. It's all good. But
Sorry, why do I need to know that card's name when I know World's Peace name? I don't.
do I get a turn to say what I want banned next?
Yeah, go ahead. Man.
Yeah, go for it.
Yay! Okay, I wish Bardock Progenitor was just lineage leader only. That would have been really cool. Just for a few reasons, like it would have still allowed like an aggressive deck like Storm to be a thing. And Storm was, tell me if you guys disagree with me, but Storm was very balanced pre Super Shenron format, as in like Broly Storm when it went up against Shenron Gogeta, it had a really good matchup. But like if you tried to play Broly Storm against like Pan or Vegeta Baby, you were in for like the most rough time. So like in my opinion, Storm was a lot more balanced. That format, I know it's debatable, but whatever. If you would have limited Bardock to just lineage leaders, you wouldn't have had to ban the card, which apparently Bandai doesn't want to add any more cards to the ban list, is from what they said today. But
they will be updating it soon.
Right, they'll keep updating it as they have to, which I'm really happy about. I'm really happy they're open to doing that. But yeah, you would have just made a lot more leaders playable, and you would have kept Height of Mastery like to a more contained archetype. I think that would have been really cool. Because if the leader's less powerful, the main deck can still be just as powerful as it is, but the deck will inherently be more balanced if the leader's not as good, right? You know, if Height can't swing 3 times, the deck is inherently more balanced. Other things, Gogeta 7, wish they would have gave it the axe, but you know that's neither here nor there. A couple other things that a lot of people talk about, like the Janemba leader. I don't know, the deck is fair, but it's not fair in terms of like some decks literally just cannot push damage through, and that's kind of annoying. TN exists, so that kind of counterbalances that. I just think TN really makes playing other mono blue strategies almost impossible, like mono blue Hurdigarn, mono blue Krillin, like mono blue Iron Val Trunks. I think TN makes those decks really unplayable. So I would have liked to have seen TN and Janemba go at the same time, but I don't think Bandai or any company for that matter will make preemptive hits usually, unless their R&D team like saw something incredibly broken. So
Triple Flash.
exactly. Like exactly.
And Bobbity too. Bobbity got errata just before Chain Attack came out, I think.
Yeah, so it's probably just like too much wishful thinking, like where people are like, "Oh, we want these huge ban lists," and like I definitely want that too. I think it would be better for the balance of the game, but I think the ban list today was absolutely excellent. Like I wish Bardock would have got errated, but banning him is much better than letting him run wild for sure.
I mean, I think it was his time to go. I mean, I love the card. I mean, I love the card. I think it's a great card, but it just for me it does too much. It gives you a turn 1 self-awaken. It's a viable swing, and then being able to free swap in either a 15, well at the time when Storm was at its highest, a Go 10 that's going to add you a card, or a 15k beater. I thought you're getting 2 swings for 1 energy. I thought that was really powerful. But I did like the card. I thought it was a good card. Great card. At one point it was probably one of the best cards in the game. But it's been around since set 4. I mean, it's been around for over a year. It's time to hang it up. And let newer cards, get shine some light on some newer cards.
Was it June? July? It was July.
Colossal Warfare?
Yeah, wasn't that July?
I think it was.
I have the website up. Hold on.
I thought it was.
I will check.
I thought it was May.
I'm pretty sure it was. Tournament of Power may have been July.
It was
like August or
July. Yeah, July 2018.
So almost a year. It's almost
a
year.
month before I started my YouTube channel. Fun fact.
Same, or at least like hardcore, at least.
Yeah. So almost a year of it being one of the best cards in the game. So I think it's time for it to go. It would have been interesting to see it being errata to Goku's lineage leader only. But it's fine. I mean, it's fine. I mean, now
It's
just
definitely fine.
So now the big engine starter is going to be Grandpa Gohan. So Grandpa Gohan is going to see some love with all these swap decks now. So I'm excited about that. So the next thing I want to talk about, because we're getting pretty close here, real quick, is set 7 and the end of the wish block. So since set 3, I think set 3 is when they first introduced the blocks. So we had the Overrealm block, which was set 3 and 4. We have the Shenron Wish block, which we're in right now, but it's set to conclude with the introduction of the multicolored block. So they announced,
even though I think aren't the multicolored cards that we're getting this month, aren't those technically in the Wish one? I think.
I think they might be still. I think the introduction of the new block starts with set 7.
Yeah, because I think the anniversary is still part of Shenron.
Yes, the anniversary is still part of Shenron's wishes. But with that block coming to an end, my biggest fear about the multicolored block is it's going to be for 3 sets. It's set 7, 8, and 9. And I think that within 3 sets, like, okay, so the biggest thing is we're in set 6 and we've already had a leader that is able to take 2 turns. Now, if they never addressed Super Shenron, where do you go from there? How does the power creep continue? And then my opinion at the time, before Super Shenron getting errated, was, well, since they're coming out with these multicolored cards, the next step would be multicolored leaders. So my question to you guys, I respect you guys. I love all your content, and I respect all your thoughts and opinions. And we'll start with Aandroidd here. Do you think if Bandai ever decides to print multicolored leaders, is that essentially the death of this game?
What kind of leaders? You broke up there.
Multicolored leaders.
Well, I made half of a video talking about that. I think that's something that they really, really have to take a good amount of time to think about. I think there's a multitude of things that you can do before you do multicolored leaders. And I think if they do multicolored leaders, they should be completely, apart from each other. So like green-black leader or a red-yellow leader or something, right? Where, well, maybe not yet red-yellow. I don't know. Maybe that would be kind of interesting. Either way, you would introduce a lot of different things in which you probably can't really predict, right? And I don't think they should really go down that road. I think there's a lot of other things. We still need an online client. We still need some more theme boosters, even though they say no. I still want my Gods theme boosters. We still have a lot of mechanics to go through. We still have set 7 and a bunch of other stuff. And I don't think multicolored leaders is the right direction.
Anybody want to expand on that?
My one and only gripe with the dual color stuff, it's really, really cool, and I appreciate how they balanced it by making it come in tapped. My only gripe with it is that it is very, very fast. The game's only 2 years old, and they're making a ginormous mechanic change like this. Like, they introduced Overrealm, they introduced like different keywords over the course of the game, but this is a really big move for being so young in the game. And I'm actually holding the card in my hand right now, the Gogeta Unparalleled Fusion Warrior, that specifies like if your leaders are red, sand, and no other color. So we know that like dual color leaders are on their mind. It's the death of the game in any way. It's just that they do have to be very, very careful with it, because certain leaders with certain colors are going to have access to certain cards, right? So you have to make sure, like, and I agree with what Aandroidd said, like do make dual color leaders that don't have crazy synergy with each other, like blue and yellow, blue and red, blue and everything basically already have like really good synergy with each other. So make a green red is like a decent color for a leader, like that doesn't have too much crazy synergy. But I do agree. I don't think it has to be death of the game. I just think they have to be very careful with how they do it.
Yeah, I think the same kind of stuff of where I think it can be done well and it can be done poorly, like a lot of things. But I think if they ease into it, it will be done really well. I think like when they talked about like the multicolored leaders, the leader that I first thought about was kind of like the Vegito leader from set 2 that made the whole mechanic of all your energies whatever color you want. That's really cool. And I think they hopefully they'll be really conservative about it, and maybe they'll just make like a Goku that just says like, oh, I'm red and green and that's it. Like that's my benefit. And that's kind of how they did with the multicolored cards. Like since they have energy exhaust, you're giving up tempo and you're giving up advantage for flexibility, right? And if they have that mindset going into the leaders, I think that is something that can be done well and give people the opinions and options of, oh, okay, there's a cost to be having a multicolored leader. It's not just all benefits, right? If they make it a cost, a pro-con kind of thing, I think it can be done really well. And that's kind of how they did with the leaders. And every time like they make like new sets of leaders, I think they kind of slowly go into it. And just because we only had like the draw 2 leaders, and then we had some untapped leaders, and people didn't think those were really good at first, and so they kind of ignored them until they power crept them up. Same kind of thing with, I think, Wish leaders. Like Shenron was good, but no one really, even when Set 5 first came out, no one really played a lot of Shenron, and it wasn't until like the last kind of Set 6 really made put Wish leaders on the map, I think, and that kind of stuff. So I think it'd be done well. Hopefully they do it well.
What do you guys propose should be the restriction or cost to play a multicolor leader?
Yeah, something like energy exhaust, like where it's like you get a really big setback.
Why don't you just start with one less card in hand?
That could be a thing. I like what Egman said. You can just be dual color and nothing else, right? Like if you just have the option of playing After Image or Shocking Deathball, I think that's really, really cool. Like as a leader and like having choices like that. But hopefully, yeah, like you said, it's not just all upside, because that's been a big problem in this game, especially in more around like Set 3, Set 4, is like playing things with no downside. Like Matt Coombe said it well. Like every card you play, you just get paid. Like you play for seeing hit, you get paid. In Mecha Frieza format, you play a ton of extra cards, you get paid. Like right. And I think it was to get more interactive cards, like more negate cards, more control cards. Hopefully, we'll start to see that change a little bit. Like maybe we'll even need to start seeing some cards that do negate leader effects. And that could be something that, for example, counteracts something broken like Super Shenron, right? So I mean, it could be something like that where they just print more counters to things, but hopefully not like the silver bullet context. But
yeah,
I think
maybe like it's funny because if you play like a blue-yellow leader, a person would side in double what they would usually side in, like Cronoa and TN. So I think that's interesting. Maybe like an energy exhaust for every card that's not multicolor, and then every multicolor card doesn't have energy exhaust. Something interesting like that would be fun.
that is interesting. Yeah, that is kind of interesting.
I think the idea of just making cool decks to build, like I'm more of a deck builder than a competitor, and I feel like at least a lot of you guys kind of have that same idea, and that's why these Wish leaders have been really cool. And like when they have leaders like the Announcer leader and like the Green Goku from Tournament of Power, where there's just such a and even Janemba, right? There's a restriction on your deck building just based on the leader you have. I think that's really cool. And so what if they like make a red-green leader and they say you can only run red and green cards in this deck, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I like that.
I feel like that's beneficial though.
Well, you can't run any black cards for like counters. Like there's a lot of good black cards for counter stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Or you couldn't splash like Bean or like anything like that. Yeah, I do kind of like that. That'd be one way to do it. Yeah, that'd be one way to do it.
So there's a whole bunch of possibilities, and I have faith that they will test out a bunch of them and put their best foot forward. So,
I mean, I think the easiest thing to do if they were to come out with multicolored leaders is just don't give them an awakened skill.
Don't give them what?
An awakened skill.
Don't ever do that again.
Like Bojack?
Yeah,
Please
I mean,
do
think
not
about
ever
it.
do
Think
that
about.
again.
I mean,
Bojack?
think about it. Think about it.
Bojack's pretty good now.
So let's the best color combination in the game. I think we would all be in agreement would be blue-yellow.
Yep.
Okay, so if you have a blue-yellow leader,
At least last format.
okay,
Yeah.
so if you have a blue-yellow leader, you have access to Dimension Magic and Nimbus, as well as all of the other good negates in the game, right?
Absolutely,
So if you make that leader, if you give him the inability to awaken, when he awakens, he gives you no advantage for awakening. So now, there's really no point. What's the point for you to awaken to be 5k stronger? Okay, cool, but I'm not untapping 2, I'm not drawing 2, I'm not untapping 1 and drawing. There's no advantage for me
What
to
if they
awaken.
make like a leader that only has one side?
No, that
That'd
too.
be really-
That could be it
What?
too. You just make
That'd
a multicolored leader with a front side. That's it.
You know, it would be incredibly cool. Listen, guys. Listen. Are you
got
guys
me
listening?
already.
You guys listening?
Oh, I think I know where you're going with this, but go ahead.
It'd be incredibly cool. We would have a launch leader with 2 different sides, 2 different colors, 2 different effects.
That would be cool.
And she switches each turn.
Like flipping back and forth.
That'd be nifty. That'd be really, really cool. Yeah, that'd be sick.
But then, like
or like an angry Chi-Chi. Like, yeah, that'd be cool.
yeah. Oh man, I love it now. Now I got to do a custom video or something.
It's just gonna be all angry women characters.
That'd be
Yeah,
sweet.
and it'd be like because like I know in Hearthstone they have like the even and odd decks, and that could be kind of the same thing. Like you can have just duality. Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff they can do, and I really do like to navigate towards like the cool leaders, not necessarily the best leaders. So.
There's a lot of food for thought there. There's a lot of interesting ideas, and I'm sure we can we can talk about this for hours just when it comes to
Yeah.
design and all that other stuff. But there is one last thing I wanted to ask you guys before we get out of here. We touched on it a little bit about the end of the Wish block, moving into the multicolored block. So since they are gearing their design strategies towards this multicolored set and supporting more multicolored cards, do you think that are we done seeing Wish leaders like for the foreseeable future? And if that's the case, do they just become automatically dead moving forward? Let's start with I guess we can start with Joey.
I think they'll probably just maybe do maybe 1%, like maybe 1 or 2%, just like they kind of do with Overwhelm, right? Like block, and then once the Overwhelm block passed, they start printing a lot less Overwhelms. I don't think we'll stop seeing them forever. I just think they'll probably focus on them a little bit less and just do the same thing they do with Overwhelm, just print less and less here and there.
Did we even have any Overwhelm this last set?
That's the thing. We didn't get an Overwhelm card in set 5.
Really?
We did not. No, in set 5. Set 5 and 6, we got no Overwhelm cards.
Wow,
Yeah.
I can't even believe that. Wow,
Yeah,
really?
the Overwhelm block
that's what I was
ended
trying-
with
I
set
believe you,
4.
but I'm looking it up.
We didn't get any Overwhelm cards in set 5 and 6.
That because I remember because both set 5 and set 6 just had answer cards. They're just all answer cards. So I was remembering when I was going over that. I don't think that we don't really need any more Wish leaders. I think we do have a lot of availability as like what we can actually have, like Zamasu as well as whatchamacallit. What's the other one? Oh, Aandroidd 17.
Yeah, those are the two leaders that I want.
Yeah, those are like probably the most popular ones that people want. But on a game design level, I don't think we really need more. I think we're okay. We might see some more in like these draft boxes and as well as the anniversary box. When they say Zamasu support, that doesn't really mean extra cards and as well as battle cards. That can mean new leaders, and that can include a new Zamasu Wish leader. So I think that's another thing that people should kind of keep in mind as far as that stuff goes. But I don't think we really need any more. That's just me.
We need another red Wish leader.
That'd be the only one I would agree with is another red one. Yeah,
That'd be
Yeah.
cool.
That Oolong
That's-
Wish
that's
leader is good though.
And we have to there's still like the Black Dragon Balls, right? Isn't that a thing?
Yeah, from GT.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll like do something. Maybe they'll do like a set 6 like anniversary, or like they'll do something I think to reinvigorate the Wish leaders in a couple months, but not. I think they were taking a break.
I'm
thinking next year.
I really don't know. I mean, if they've already announced the whole thought process behind the new block is for 3 sets, I think that the end of the Wish era is pretty much done for the foreseeable future, unless they do a supplemental set where it's like a themed booster just based around Dragon Balls, and then they can introduce the Black Star sagas in there. But I don't know. I mean, from what I've seen, this is only the 3rd block that we're going into, but if the pattern continues, Overwhelm block ended, Wish block started, we got no Overwhelm support. So
We got what was it?
Bardock fully unleashed.
Didn't we get like a Vegeta?
For which one?
Yeah, we got Revived Ravager Vegeta. And
we got very little, very little.
Revived Ravager Vegeta.
Yeah.
The tournament promo.
Yeah.
15 crate.
That is the single one. It is petty, but I'll stick to it.
Okay, fine. Okay, you know what? Just because you looked it up, I'll give you that. But that's a promo. I'm talking about the set itself. I mean, I'll give it to you because kudos, props for that quick keyboard work. But
Thank you. Yes.
No.
Research 100.
And then I'm pretty sure Champion Pack Bardock came out before.
We also
set
got
5.
Encroaching Darkness to Migra. That's twice
Okay.
as much evidence.
All right, Egg. All right. Kick this guy out.
Wait, but you're talking about the power booster Demigra?
Yeah, it's still a promo.
It's a power booster for set 4 though. So
Yeah,
it's still
Shenron's wishes. It's got like the little Dragon Ball on the bottom, right?
nah.
Oh my god.
It says Shenron's wishes at the bottom.
Yeah, it does.
Interesting.
Because this is a promo for this ad.
Well, then I stand corrected. 2. We got 2.
Okay, but
No, honestly, I was mad flabbergasted when you said there was no Overwhelms in set 5.
There
or
were
6.
none. None.
I did not realize that.
yeah, crazy,
Yeah.
right?
I didn't
So-
know. I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
to the extent.
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's kind of interesting because we didn't feel it as much when Overwhelm just essentially just dropped off of the face of the earth, because Overrealm was played the way it was intended to be played. It was played as an extender to give you that extra like oomph. You didn't really build a deck around Overrealm unless you were experimenting with Mono Black Demigra. But now with the Wish mechanic, your deck's kind of heavily just revolved around that mechanic. Now for that to just be completely over, we're no longer going to get. They're not going to continue supporting the older mechanics. So essentially those cards, not that they die, I'm sure somebody will find something busted and continue to play it, because that's our job as card players, is to break the game so they can keep addressing it and evolving it. But I don't think there's going to be any more support moving forward unless, like I said, unless like you said, they print some type of anniversary booster for Wish leaders or some type of an expansion. But I don't see it happening for the next 3 sets, which is going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I don't think it will be a main mechanic.
Yeah, the way the wishes are set up is like, any new 2-drop Saiyan with 15k or less they print is automatically going to work with like Fountain of Spirit, right? So like they're going to get like
blue, right?
It has to be blue.
Yeah, blue 15k. Like they're going to indirectly support these archetypes for a long time, and the wish leaders are powerful enough, like Shenron, Dende, blue Dende, yellow Dende. They'll be in and out of the tournament scene, like even if they never get new direct support, I think.
Right. All right. Well, guys, we've been talking real talk now for over an hour, and as much as I would love to continue to talk with you guys, it is getting really late here on the East Coast. So I guess we can start wrapping it up. I do appreciate you guys taking time out of your nights or days or wherever we are right now to talk with us here on the podcast. I'm sure everybody's going to enjoy it when I upload it tomorrow morning. Before we get out of here, we'll start with Joey. Any quick shout-outs or anything you want to make before we get on out of here?
Yeah, guys. Shout out to Shenron's Lair, my team. Excellent group of people. Would not rather be on any other team. Shout out to all you guys in the Super Tuber organization. We didn't really touch on like what that is, but that's okay. But yeah, shout out to all you guys. Cause,
yeah, it's a secret, bro. Come on, man.
My bad.
Just leak knowledge.
But love working with all you guys. You guys are all awesome.
Aandroidd, any shout-outs?
No, not really, actually. I will shout out to you guys, obviously. I mean, that's just...
Yeah, like, when I shouted us all out, that means everyone has to do it now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I feel a little redundant.
In case you didn't get the social cue.
Oh, okay. Well, shout out to you guys, right? I don't know. I don't have a team other than the Stage 0 team, which is not something that's really established yet.
Isn't that your team?
It is, but it's not a team yet. Right.
Yeah.
So that's gonna.
I'm already typing in the Stage 0 chat. Aandroidd doesn't respect us. Wow.
Aandroidd
like
disbanded us.
Okay, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Joel went out and talked mess to Hernandez on Facebook, and I was like, I had to pull him away. I was like, no, why would you do that? We're not even a team yet. So I was like, okay, that's great. But no, I don't really have any shout outs. I'm really glad to be on this. Always happy to talk for hours, of course, about this stuff. But I do want to shout out Eddie. He says I don't shout him out. He's from my locals. That's it. There you go.
Okay, moving right along. Eggman, any shout outs?
Yeah, I'm going to start with Stage 0 and then Super Tubers.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we're everyone I've talked to is great. This is a really great community. There are a couple of butt heads, but they're really easy to avoid and identify. So that's great. So I appreciate them for being so obvious. So, but yeah, it's been a really fun ride so far, and I want to keep it going. Yeah.
Well, again, thank you for being on. We appreciate it. I wish you guys much more success in the future, and I'm definitely honored to share the same space with you fine gentlemen. If anything ever comes up in the future that's major, whether it's a ban list or something major in the game, I think we should kind of all get together and talk about it, because I think we're doing
find me.
Yeah, I think we're doing a pretty good thing for the community, just to get multiple thoughts out there for people to have different viewpoints on, and not to toot our own horns or anything, but I think we offer good ideas when it comes to the continuing growth of this game. So I'm not going to keep you guys much longer. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for watching. Look at me. I don't even know what I'm talking.
Real quick.
Yeah.
The next tournament I'm going to is probably ARG Indy.
Okay.
So if you guys want to, if anyone's going to there, try to find me. I don't know if any of you guys are going to a tournament next month or going to Origins, but that might be.
Are you going to be wearing
I
your
wanted to go
Eggman
Origins.
shirt?
Are you?
Are you? Eggman?
Egg?
Me? Am I going to Origins? No, I wish I could. It's,
No,
Are you
when
gonna-
you go to
are you
Indy,
wearing-
are you going to be wearing your Eggman shirt?
Yeah, of course.
That's
How
what,
else
that's
people
what
find
everyone's
me?
got to look for, the big Eggman shirt.
Yeah, and I'll probably last time I gave Krillin cards. Maybe we'll just give out Chile cards or something this time. I don't know.
You should just give out your deck with the Victory Strike and all.
Yeah,
Just the
well,
whole,
hey.
hey, here you go. But all right, so we're gonna wrap up. For those of you listening, thank you so much for the support, and we will talk to you again next week. Be there or be squared.